Hello, Aries. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Really great to see you. Sorry, it took a couple minutes here just getting your slideshow ready for this morning. A lot of channeled messages have been coming through over the past couple of days, which means we have a lot to talk about and it's going to be a busy month ahead. So I'm very much looking forward into relaying all of that to you. Our little assistant here, Apollo, I'm going to put him down so we can get talking. So give me 1 second. And first of all, while I'm doing that, I just want to say welcome. So I'm going to put up what we're talking about today. And let me just get my monitor in the background here set up, because I always like to make sure that you can see what I'm seeing. So while I get this set up, let me just do a quick introduction first. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and we're going to be looking at the sign of Aries for the next 6 to 8 weeks. I just finished up all of the January and February forecasts. They're all up on the main channel. So this will be for the month of March. I know it seems like it's ahead of time, but when the way that I kind of work on this channel is I want to give you as much time as you can to kind of prepare for what's coming through. And a lot of the channel messages, which we'll be getting to in just a moment, are relevant right here and right now. So let's talk a little bit about the format of today. As you can see right here, I like to begin with channeled messages. The past 2 nights, there must be a lot of you that have some distinct questions for me because I've been receiving almost nonstop messages in dreams. So I do a lot of dream interpretation here on this channel, and a large percentage of today's forecast is coming through with messages and symbols that I received in my dreams. So we'll begin with that, and then I go into the Celtic Cross afterwards to dig a little bit deeper and let you see what's available for you. And really, I had a friend the other night asking me, how do you do this and what is it all about? This is about empowerment. That was the short answer to the question. And it's kind of like looking at a map and seeing the possibilities, but having like the Google overlay where you can see where the traffic is or where the roadblocks are. And so that's what that next portion is going to show us. The Celtic Cross and expanded forecasts are going to show us where there's congestion, where there's opportunities. There'll be a big idea, which is something to focus on and embrace. Blessings and blocks, things to love, things to avoid. And then I throw out some questions to you while I also pick one of my favorite questions. So we'll do a little bit of interactive stuff for the viewers and readers' choice. I always like to wrap up with a combination of a meditation, a sound bath, and a final card. So let me just, like I said, set up my monitor here. I wanted to start on time, so let me just get this here right now, okay? And let's get into your reading. Okay, so as I said, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And a couple of quick notes here. If you're brand new to the channel and you want to be kept in the loop of what's coming on, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. The subscribe button doesn't cost anything. It's the equivalent of hitting follow on any other platform. And the like button is a way to show that you enjoy what you see. It's like throwing a virtual coin in someone's, coin boxes, they're playing an instrument outside or something. It's just a way to say thank you, and it helps other people discover it. So those 2 actions help more than you could ever imagine. If you'd like to also just know what's going on, I always post reminders on my social media platforms, and I also put snippets up usually 1 or 2 days later, something that can kind of encapsulate what the reading might be about. So it's a great way to keep in touch. All of my social media platforms are here. It's always my name. A big important piece, because Instagram tends to be the place where this happens the most, but if people add an extra letter or an underscore or whatever, and then they message you, that is not me. You're not going to get any invites or messages from me on social media. This is the way we connect. So thanks for showing up on this live reading. It's great to have you here. Also, if you want information on my schedule, it can be found on my website. I'll post that in just a few minutes after I get through the channel messages and before I get into the Celtic Cross. So there you go. I think that's everything. One last piece. As you can tell, I've done a lot of upgrades here, and that's a direct result of all the support you've given me. So if you want to help out, you can do so with a one-time super chat or super sticker, or even in an ongoing way with memberships. All right. With all of that being said, let me get ready for the channeled messages. And this is probably one of my favorite parts as a reader, because one of the tools that I've been developing over the past 10 years or so is just raw intuition. So the cards are great because they help us see things in a very tangible way, but all of us are natural intuitives and empaths if we tap into it, and that's what this portion is about. So let me get everything set up for you, picture in picture, and we're going to pull up the slideshow for today and get started here. So, all right, here we go. So Spirit totem today is a combination of things. The scorpion would be your sort of nature spirit totem, but one of the key things that kept coming through for me was the basically the idea of taking off a mask and sort of revealing yourself. And we'll talk about how this is going to pan out for many of you, but let's get started and I'll explain it. It's easier if I kind of go through it. All right, so first things first, scorpions were the main sort of energy that I was picking up on, in my dreams. And there was a scene at night, which I will talk about in a second, where they were everywhere. Let's kind of geek out on what the scorpion is about so that when I talk about it in a moment and how it showed up, it's going to be more impactful and important for you. All right, so I guess I'd forgotten that they are in the same family as spiders just because they look a lot different than spiders, but I think they're like spiders, mites, and scorpions are all kind of in the same family. It's a very ferocious predator. It can actually kill a human. In addition to small rodents and insects, that venom in its tail is nothing to take for granted, right? It also is capable of living in extremes. So it's a very good hunter and a very good survivor. That actually portends well for you because that tells me that given any sort of obstacle in front of you, you have the ability to bounce back. I was even reading an account where it goes into hibernation, but like sometimes even if it's a little bit extreme and let's say there were freezing temperatures and it's kind of frozen, if you get it back into the heat or the warmth of the sun quickly enough, it can actually kind of reanimate. So this thing is hard to kill. It is good at getting what it wants, and it's definitely a force to be reckoned with if you face it. Kind of interesting that one of its survival techniques is to put its head in the sand, right? So although that is, or to put its body in the sand, one thing that I was thinking of as a human being, however, we have that phrase, your head is in the sand. It's sometimes ignoring something that you should be looking at. So with this particular totem, it's an encouragement for many of us to just make sure that we're not missing something, that we're not afraid to look at something, because you also have the strength and the mettle that this particular totem has, or it wouldn't have come through for you. It's also good at climbing, and whatever your obstacle is, whether you think you're facing an opponent that is stronger, older, more experienced than you, whether you're facing something in life where you think, can I get through this? Whatever it is, the scorpion is coming through to say, size does not matter, age does not matter. It's basically how strong your desire and will is that matters the most, okay? So really powerful energy. Some of you may be Scorpions or have a Scorpio placement in your chart, so you want to pay special attention to that placement. There may be messages today, even within the Aries reading, that resonate specifically for that. You should definitely check out last month's reading or this month's reading for Scorpio, which is live already. Okay, so let's talk about how the Scorpion came to me in dreams. So I was shown a beach, and I felt like it was at midnight because the position of the moon, it just felt like it was late at night. Just enough moonlight on the beach for me to see that there were small animals, crabs, and in this case, scorpions and things kind of scattering about. And they were lying in wait, waiting for their next meal. And so I was following someone and kind of tiptoeing to make sure that I didn't step on their tail or get in their way. Because they were not intent on bothering me. I didn't feel danger, but I was aware of the scorpions. I watched as this figure stood before me, which after I analyzed it in waking hours, I'm pretty sure it was the hermit. And it wasn't showing me its face, not initially. I saw like it remove one mask and another. Because we wear face masks now, I want to make it clear this was kind of like I put the dramatic arts masks there. It was almost like a full face mask, and it would take one off and there would be something else. It would take another one off and there would be another mask. So to me, this is about peeling back the onion skin. Some of you may be doing some work on yourselves, working with a counselor or a therapist to kind of overcome things from the past. Some of you may be learning things about your family or yourself that you didn't know. You may also be trying on a persona, deciding, this is something that really inspires me. I want to see if I could be that kind of person, if I could be that person. So I want to encourage you to have fun with it. That's one of the nice things about any of you that have spent time in acting. It's just that ability to, try something different and not kind of like become something that you didn't know that you could be, because you're You're kind of digging from the depths of your soul and projecting. So it's good to sometimes give it a shot, try something new. I do think a big reveal is on the horizon for many of you. The Hermit for me is always auspicious. It shows that the inner work is being done. You can see the star that the Hermit is holding there. So that star is something that is ostensibly, that's you, that's where you're headed. But the Hermit is still kind of looking around it, still kind of not sure that he can become that, and absolutely he can. So the big reveal is about to happen, but knowing that you can become and accept whatever this dream is, whatever this vision is, that is the keystone to the success that's basically ahead of all of you. But you have to believe in yourself. So if you're still a little bit in that hermit phase, if you're still tiptoeing and walking on eggshells or trying to avoid those little scorpions, it could be because you're afraid of the rejection, you're afraid of the feedback, you're afraid of the thoughts that might come through when you raise your hand and say, this is who I think I am, this is what I feel I need to do. But it's okay, because everything in the dream was showing me that this is sort of an inevitability. And when you stop trying to kind of like masquerade and be something that you're not, then you can shine. Then people are going to trust you. Then you're going to truly succeed. So this, as I was talking about it, the moon energy, of course, is going to be a key piece of this because it is a nighttime beach scene. We have a lobster, but it can be a scorpion too. Same sort of energy. It's something in the side that represents the unknown, represents danger, represents an unknown risk or a question. So how can you overcome the fear that's intrinsic to the moon card? Simple, facing your fear. And taking the mask off is also showing like facing it, putting on your true face. There may be someone in your life, because the moon card can represent this, that has been holding up a facade, that has had a false front somehow. And that mask is going to be lifted this month. Or either you're going to see it happen, you're going to know it, or they're going to sort of fumble into having to tell the truth. Education is a key way to overcome fear. The more you know, the less you fear. That's the missing piece. There was in the United States, there was a PSA on, I think it was on NBC in the 80s and 90s, and it was like this star going up, and it's like, the more you know. That was kind of like a sentence fragment. I would say the more you know, ... the more powerful you are, the less you fear, the more capable you are. So the missing piece on that, they needed some dots, and they needed to kind of like complete the sentence fragment. There was no action, there was no verb. So the verb in this is to decide to educate yourself and do something about it. We need to kind of like complete that. Knowledge is power as long as you apply it. So that's one thing that I take issue with that old PSA that those of you that grew up in the 80s and 90s might remember. You can avoid an argument or a conflict. This is key. There may be someone in your life that has a sharp tongue, a short temper, or a closed mind, the scorpion tail that wants to just kind of like strike, right? So I think it's best to walk the other way. If I hadn't already pulled the moon card, I would probably put the Five of Swords here as well for this illustration, but both of them have the kind of similar energy here, which is, I'm not going to poke the beast. I'm not going to bother that because it's just not worth it, right? It's not worth my time and energy. So understand that you are doing exactly what you need to be doing, and as long as you're on your path and are happy, you don't need permission, and you don't need to kind of like agitate someone. Sometimes people just don't want to listen. I think we've all had someone in our lives that represents that. What you're looking for might be hidden in plain sight. So I just put a little picture of a rock here because it's sort of like lifting up that rock and seeing something. And I talked a little bit about this in one of the latest readings, I think one of the collectives. So the solution you need is right there. Try to not overlook the obvious. Don't overthink, don't overcomplicate. So if there's a simple solution there, it's probably a good one. Sometimes we try to make things harder than they need to be. Talking about knowledge, 3 and 8 of Pentacles definitely come to mind when I'm thinking about this. You might be feeling this inner calling to learn, whether it's an internship, going back to school, training, reading, it doesn't matter. You don't need an actual certificate here to gain this. It can be very much a figurative sort of lesson. But there's going to be a return on the investment that you take to expand your horizons. It will help you not only unlock, future opportunities, but also your own potential. So this is a really great time to dig in, to learn more, to roll up your sleeves and see what comes of that. And the final piece, I believe, let me just double check and make sure I haven't missed anything. Yeah, this is the last one. The final piece is to remember to be on time and to pay attention to timing in general. I believe you're on the precipice of a synchronicity. Those are big words to say that something's going to happen because it's the right time. You've opened up this opportunity for you. So punctuality is going to be important, and then recognizing that you open the synchronicity, that you open up this opportunity is going to be key. If a door opens, step through it. You don't know if or when that's going to present itself again. Don't keep others waiting. I saw basically you showing up late for an important appointment. There may be other people that want to step in if you are late to that. This is true for love too, by the way. I don't explicitly and exclusively read for love, but this is totally something that can apply to relationships. So it might be the right time to talk about something important, whether it's about starting a family, about becoming exclusive, about where you're going. Take action and avoid procrastination. Easier said than done. I know that from time to time, we all just want to drag our feet a little bit and hope that everything's going to just sort itself out. This is a month where my guides were coming through in no uncertain terms and saying, so sorry, I really feel like you have to take some action right now and you have to do what's best for you and just really sort of like what's best overall. All right, so we're going to move along now to the next portion here, which is the Celtic Cross. It's so interesting. I put a community post and asked for some suggestions, and you were all suggesting decks that I have. So I'm going to pull some of the suggestions that you were throwing out here, and we can vote on them. So give me a second. I was busy lighting candles and setting up the intention, but I'm going to pull some decks that I haven't used in recent rotation as much, and we'll go from there, and I'll do a little vote here in a moment. So welcome, everybody. If you're brand new, before I get into this again, we're just at the Celtic Cross, so perfect timing. Give me a second here to get all of these laid out for you, and we'll do some exciting things today. So one of the decks that you asked about was Druidcraft, which I have, so we'll put that one out here. Let me see. I think I saw the Field Tarot that was asked about, so let me see if I can find that one for you. And we'll just try to mix things up here just a little bit. I know it's hard to hear me while I'm on the side, so I'll pull the mic over here for a second. I'm just looking at some that we haven't used too much lately, because I know that some of you just like variety, so I'm going to try to get some variety here for you today. All right, so I'm going to throw out a black and white deck too, because some of you asked for that. And let me see what else we can pull here. Let's see. Oh yes, I think someone wanted the Ethereal Visions as well, so here we go. We have the Field Tarot, and we'll do Ethereal. No, let's see. Okay. Sorry for the for the wait here. There we go. I just wanted to take a moment and make sure I got everything represented. All right, so give me 1 second here, and we'll see if any of these are to your liking. Slightly different decks here that I went into my archives to look at, and we're going to be looking at, I actually forget the name of this deck, I always do, so I'm just going to call it deck 1. So we have 3 choices here, including a black and white deck. So let's get the desk front and center. Let me put the decks out here for you to vote on. And I tried to shake it up a little bit, and hopefully you'll enjoy these. Okay, so let's start this poll, and let's get things started today. All right. So if you're watching on mobile or on the desktop, you'll be able to participate. So which deck would you like? And I'm just going to put option, I'll just deck 1 because I can't remember the name on this one. And then Druidcraft. And then Bianco, Negro. I'm just going to put black and white, rather than the Italian name. And I believe the last one is Field Tarot. Okay, so you guys can vote. I'm going to show you a few images of each while you're voting. So this is the first one. You'll notice that it's beautiful, kind of like nice soft colors, dreamy, earthy, fun to work with. Druidcraft, also in that sort of earthy colors. Really love this one as well. Haven't used it in a while. Slightly bigger cards, beautiful imagery. And then we have a black and white deck because you guys were asking for that. I have a couple of them that are in black and white. This one's really cool. It's based on Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's just black and white. So this is a nice one. And then we have the Field Tarot as option number 4 here. Okay, so hopefully those resonate, and I look forward to seeing what you think. All right, so let's take a look at where the poll is at right now. It looks like Druidcraft is narrowly in the lead here, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and we'll leave this one out, and we'll see if it wins. I always like to wait till the last minute because sometimes there's a tie. Even if there's a tie, I feel like this one is pretty darn good as an option, so you guys selected well. All right, so let's look at it really closely here, and it looks like Druidcraft indeed won by 32%, so great choice everybody who voted. Let's get started on the reading and see what's coming through for the month ahead. All right. So let me get everything set up here and let you see me while I'm doing this. All right, so welcome everyone. If you just joined, you can use this for your sun, rising, moon, and Venus. We're looking at Aries for the next 6 to 8 weeks. We're currently in the month of February. This is for March, but a lot of the messages right now are going to resonate, especially as I look at past and deep past, okay? For those of you that were putting the votes in the chat, you always have to click on the vote up above. But we're done now, and you've chosen a really nice deck for this month. I love the beautiful colors in this deck, all the green. Good choice, everyone. Good choice. Good to bring it out of the archives. Especially the ace cards. They're quite nice in this deck. Just zoom out a little bit so you can see it better. There we go. Okay, and we'll just place these like that, and there you go. You can see everything nice. Okay, so let me go ahead now and pull the rest of the cards, and then we'll get started. How's everyone doing? How did you, hopefully you enjoyed my impromptu reading. I just did one on the new moon. I think that was part of the reason that I was also picking up on just a ton of messages over the past few days here. New and full moons for me just bring like plethora of dream messages. Not sure about all of you, but I definitely get a lot during those periods of time. So we're also almost through the retrograde. By the time this is on replay and many of you watch it, we'll be through it and just in the shadow, and that'll be good too. So that's always much appreciated. We had one that was stuck to it, so we're going to pull both of them in there. Okay, give me a second here to just arrange these so I have a little more space. Love this deck, but definitely takes up a ton of space here on the on the table. So I'll pull back just a little bit more again so you can see more. Okay, there we go. So let's begin with your first card, which is always the catalyst, and I love what we see here. Really nice connection to what I was just talking about. We just got out of the new moon, so what this is really representing right now is this opportunity to step into the new you. We see the egg starting to hatch. We see all this beautiful energy of movement around it, little like fireworks and maybe new stars here that are being born, which I love. So it's reminding you that, I say this a lot, but we are born of the stars. We are stardust. I mean, it's basically how everything on this planet, especially like the heavy metals and things, were created. Stars exploded, cosmic dust was created, all that dust kind of aggregates and a new star is born. But everything on this planet is made of those initial stars. At the beginning of the universe, it was just stars. And as those old stars kind of died and blew up, then other elements, heavy elements were made, including the carbon, which we're made of. So literally we are constituted from old stars, and we are old souls. And this is reminding you that you can lean into both the old and the new with this. So that means that you kind of have the energy of like the emperor and the fool, or the, you know, you're somewhere between the world and the fool. So lean into the old soul knowledge, but never be afraid to try something new. You're never too old, you're never too young. And that's why I saw the hermit taking off face after face after face. It was basically showing me, I'm all of this and then some, right? There's an old Ani DeFranco song, like 32 Flavors and Then Some. It reminds me of that. You can be all of this. You can be the kitchen sink. So the important thing for you is to decide on maybe the one thing that you want to see the most growth happening in. So this, whenever I see an egg or a seed, I really associate that with earth, and usually like Ace of Pentacles. So whatever it is, this is saying, hey, it's already there. So if you're late to the game and you're sort of starting something right now, this card is saying, because the universe wants you to do something, you'll probably get what you want, but you're going to be feeling a little overwhelmed, because it's sort of like if you've ever, when I was a kid, I moved from one coast to the other here in the United States, and the school systems functioned differently, and like everyone around me already knew how to do cursive and some other things, and I had to learn it in like 3 weeks, what they had a whole year to learn. As a result, I have really nice cursive because I was using all of these guides to kind of do it, and the teacher didn't have time to teach me. She's like, you better just learn it. You have like a month. And so I learned it. But sometimes you have that catch-up period where you have to catch up to everyone else. But sometimes it's good because you're not going to waste time. So just throw yourself into a task at hand, and you're going to learn it, and you're going to get through it. And for those of you that have been holding on to something, just do it. It's time. Basically, this is showing that it's now or never. That was that door of opportunity that I was talking about when we were doing the channeled messages just a little bit ago. Okay, so beautiful energy there with the Starborn. And by the way, isn't that a nice connection to the Hermit energy that we were talking about? That's that star ready to come out of the lantern, right? So yay for that. All right, let's take a look at the spread here in front of us. I love that we started with this. We do have an interesting card here smack dab in the center with the Five of Pentacles. With the Hierophant right on top of it, the High Priest here, it's basically saying you have more power than you think, but there's something holding you back. So let's talk about what it is that's holding you back. All right, so Five of Pentacles in reverse. If you look into the distance here, you can see like a hunt going on, right? This is a hound of some sort, and it looks like a little hare or rabbit. But we see someone here that is so kind of caught up in their own energy that they're losing time. They're losing an opportunity to join that hunt, to join that sort of chase or that race. What could be holding them back? Well, fear that they're not good enough. There could be projections from others of inadequacy. There could also be something from the past that they're holding on to. It could be fear or anger or uncertainty that was a result of a lack of support or a lack of vision when they were younger. And the main thing with this one is that we're seeing that it's not so much about who's right or who's wrong. There is this sort of immediacy or urgency to this, which is saying, why not just focus on here and now? You're losing out. The time is sort of ticking there. So this is not to make you stress out. It's more to kind of make you think, oh, yeah, there's a lot that I can do today. Today could be amazing. Today is amazing. I'm amazing. Let's focus on really embracing what I have the ability to make better. So it's almost like you have, just imagine if you are like a gardener or something, and you have all these bulbs and they're sitting there and they're waiting to be planted. And you look at everyone else's gardens and they're already started. You have to start at some time, even if you may not see the blossoms for a year because you planted them out of season. It's better to allow them to start to grow. And by next year, they're going to be beautiful and everything's going to be fine. You just have to start sometime. And I really believe that's what this Five of Pentacles is about. Don't undervalue yourself. If you're a mother, a teacher, a healer, a lot of times you might put yourself second because you think that's just your sort of duty in life. This one is saying, no, I'm absolutely on the same level as other people. And it's okay for me to ask for that kind of equal pay or equal opportunity. I'm just pouring some water for myself, so give me a second. When it comes to negotiating for jobs, for also just what it is that you want in life, this is a reminder also for you to feel absolutely empowered to say, this is what I would like. Because sometimes we're also nervous that there might be rejection if we put ourselves out there and say, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what makes me happy. Crossing this card, we have a power symbol here. We have the High Priest or the Hierophant. I really like how strong this High Priest is. I also like that he doesn't have disciples. not in the traditional sense. Ostensibly, this little bird here could be one of his disciples in the forest, but this looks more like an emperor than a high priest or a hierophant. A hierophant is traditionally someone who knows how to create structure, get things organized, is a really good leader. There could also be someone in your life, because if we look at how these two are laid out, the U at the center, the Five of Pentacles, is being crossed by this power symbol. This could be mom, dad, a boss, someone in your life that kind of steps in there and somehow gets into your headspace a little bit and makes you think, I can't be as strong as this person. I'm not as good as this person, etc., etc. And the truth of the matter is you are fine. We have the Hermit here, by the way. I just noticed that. It's just been muted. Your light has been muted. And so what we're going to do today is help you unmute that light and really come out. So the fact that this is still in your spread is auspicious, because it's saying if you have attracted this person in your periphery, you yourself must have the same capacity to do this. If we look right above his head, I love how the solar energy is there. So we have the sun here and we have the star here in the Hermit. They're both you see it here. You have the sun, the star, and the moon. So the star is in the lantern, and then of course the moon here, and that's what I represent, or that's what I recognized when I was looking at the dream. So you just can't see what other people can see potentially. And this is a chance for you to really embrace this inner leader that you have, okay? So just step into it, try it, fake it till you make it. This particular high priest, we can actually see that he kept the tools from when he was a magician, because if you don't know, the major arcana is basically like the journey of the fool. So by the time we get to this, you've gone through fool, magician, the sorcerer, I was going to call her the sorcerer, high priestess, because this is a high priest, empress, and then the emperor. And so this is kind of like a sign of power, because you've gone through divine, feminine, and masculine, and 2 magic cards plus the birth. So to me, this is a symbol of really great energy. So you just have to sort of like bring it all together. High priest is probably a better word for hierophant, because it's not sort of like part of a religious sort of thing. It's more like, no, you're the graduated forms of divine, masculine, and feminine, and magic. So that's what you have, is the ability to pull from everything. And again, I was talking about the tools. You see the tools here that from when he was a magician. And he's just now ready to kind of step into his power. So when I say his, I can also mean her. I'm just using the imagery on the card, and I don't really read gender, because all of these cards are just symbolic, okay? But there is a divine masculine energy, which is about taking action. So as I said on that very last slide, procrastination has no seat at the table this month. It's going to be really important for you to decide what you want to do and then do it. Looking at deep past here, we have the 9 of Wands. 9 of Wands is saying you're much closer to completion than you may give yourself credit for. You still have a little bit of work to do, and you may be nursing some wounds from the hard work. This is a kind of non-traditional approach here, because typically you would see the head being the place where a lot of the energy is being held. We see him nursing a wound here on his, let's see, it would be his right? So his right shoulder or arm. So for some of you, you just may be feeling like, wow, I've been through this. I've been there and back, and I'm tired, and I'm ready for things to move forward. I think the important thing for you is to remember that you're going to be able to make this work, especially when I look at the opportunity space and I see the Ace of Wands. There's one more we see a gap in the road there, one more little hurdle that you might have to overcome. But ultimately, I really feel like you have the capacity to just kind of knock this out of the park, and I'm excited for you. So a couple of notes whenever we have the 9 of Wands. Don't give up. Keep pressing on. Pay attention to what's going on in your head. For some of you, you might be dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty. There may even be something like migraines. Whatever's going on, standard disclaimer applies here. When I'm looking at health, you need to talk to a doctor if you're feeling any of this. But some of it can just be getting into your headspace and worrying about like worst case scenarios. And so the encouragement here is trying not to worry so much, because again, you've set up the opportunity here to be strong and powerful. So I think not underestimating yourself is going to be really key to this, and then not giving up, because you've earned this moment in time. So seize it and enjoy it. So moving along now to the recent past, which, because we're looking at this in advance, could represent some of the things that you're going through as you're watching this reading. We have the Hermit card. Let's take a closer look at him. The Hermit card here, actually, I'm looking at him looking at the shore here. Some of you could almost skip into a Three of Wands, saying that like I said, the solution is deceptively close for you. So you may be thinking, how am I going to do this? How far away am I from getting something to come into fruition? And this card is saying it's right there. You just have to kind of like come out of your shell a little bit symbolically, making sure that you're being a little bit more comfortable talking to people, sharing with people, sort of connecting and letting your true colors show. Some of you have been taught it's better to hold back. It's better to be humble. It's better to be less than, because people may not be ready for your voice, for you to kind of like step out there. And I would say for you to really not be afraid. Everything has been setting you up here for success. So the important thing is to stay clear to that vision and step out there. Many of you may be removing the mask. So it could be an announcement. It could be a declaration. It could be a question that you're asking someone else. Can we do this? I'd like to do this. I feel passionate about this. So definitely allow yourself to be strong, allow yourself to be that leader, and step into the new you. If you can't see it, others will have a hard time seeing it. And that's what the Four of Cups is representing here in the crowning position. The crowning position is where your head is at. It's also kind of like what you're calling in. This is also about hidden in plain sight. I literally put that in my slide here. So as we look at this is a great indication of hidden in plain sight. For many of you, this may be a better illustration than the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, because instead of just floating in space, we actually see that the opportunity, the solution, whatever it is that you seek, it's just right there. So what you want to do is, instead of focusing on what's right in front of you, maybe what's in front of you could be a yes or a no. It could be something that you want, like hard and cold facts or proof or data. You might have to go beyond that. Again, I was having a conversation with a friend the other night, and we were just talking about spirituality. This person's very much medical or science oriented, so they're much more. Even when when they were talking to me, they had spiritual experiences, but they discounted them, like clairvoyant dreams or experiences just even with like people that had a brush with death and everything. But everything could be explained away. So if you're the constant skeptic and you lack hope, or you lack the ability to take a leap of faith, then you're limiting your potential. And at one point, the person even said, like, I just don't think I have that gift, or I can't connect. I said, you can, but you have to get past that feeling that you can't. You know this if you've tried to ride a bike, right? If you're constantly thinking to yourself, I can't ride this bike, then you can't ride this bike, because you're in that limited thought process. When I was learning as a kid, I needed to have a neighbor show me, and we kind of like went down a hill, and that's what did it for me. And then she was like, just keep pedaling. See, now you're actually running, and then just have to keep your balance. And that was it. So you can do it. You just need a little push sometimes. And so either you push someone in your life, or maybe you need to ask for that little push from someone. So whoever that person might be, get them into your life so that you can get past this sort of block in your head. And that's also what I would normally see that's associated with the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands and Four of Cups are not accidentally kind of at either end of the spectrum. Nine of Wands is that feeling of just almost being at the finish line, but maybe wanting to give up. And this one is missing how close you are. So when we pull these two together, we can see that you have this just amazing opportunity in front of you. And I hope that you're willing to embrace it. All right, as we look here to the side, we have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is basically fear, uncertainty. Some of you might just be really stressed out because of everything that's going on in your life. So sometimes when we're actually doing a better job than we believe we are, we're holding such a high bar of excellence for ourselves or for others that the stress is getting in the way. So stress management is so essential for you right now. Nine of Swords is rarely as difficult as it seems, and that's the sort of positive with this. We really see that it's an internal issue, usually with the Nine of Swords. So if you're afraid to talk to someone, if you're afraid to say something, maybe getting someone to help you having a buddy as you do this will be of assistance. Maybe trying something out on someone else will be good. You need to kind of get your confidence back because, again, when we look at the 3 cards in the center, they tell a really good story. I mean, in tarot, you usually only need 3 cards. A lot of times when I do the impromptus, it'll show past, present, and future. And that's really what these 3 are. This is recent past, present influences, and future. So in the past, we see that you were taught to kind of mute your light. Maybe some of you are just naturally shy. We see here that you have taken yourself for granted a little bit, and this is causing more stress. But across all of this is power. And then in this lantern here is power. So there's just power and opportunity that want to burst out, but it is fear, uncertainty, and shyness that could be holding you back. Your sign is not known for these traits, so there's probably something in your life that could just be making you take a half step back a little bit, and I would encourage you to be bold, to be strong, to step forward, because there's way too much, especially when we look at opportunities here, to gain by putting yourself out there. All right, let's look at what you can work on as a person this month. When we go into your soul this month, we have the 5 of Cups in reverse. And it's kind of interesting here. I want to show the table one more time because when we're looking at this, we have, well, I'll let you see it a little closer. So there's actually some fish here. I'll pull this up so you can see it in a moment. And your destiny card is actually the fish. So I see you being able to move. It might be salmon. There are some fish that can actually go upstream, and they do that to mate and to reproduce. So what I'm seeing here is that if you push counter to the current just a little bit, then it's going to be fruitful. Not always will I say that, but in this particular illustration, I can see that. The other thing that I'm seeing with this is it's good to kind of like show yourself, show your colors a bit. So yeah, we just see a couple of, so there's a fish and then there's something going after the fish. It looks like it might be an alligator or some sort of hunter in the background too. So one of the interesting things that I've kind of seen across my dreams and the cards is watching where you're going and watching what's around you. There's opportunity. There's also someone that wants to seize that opportunity. So I'm going to lean back into the original message of timing. I think timing is going to be essential right now. And make sure that you don't lose track of who's around you and also what you want to kind of like focus on. Because 5 of Cups can be looking at the past and thinking all of this has come and gone and I have regrets. This is saying, but you have someone or something that is still there ready to be seized, ready to be enjoyed and taken advantage of in the positive way, like an opportunity that you've created, a synchronicity that's come through, and it's saying, come on, let's do this. You have that same, here you have a hidden ace, right? So we have a hidden ace. This is your opportunity for love or happiness. Here we have a hidden 2 of Cups, which is saying not only do you have an opportunity, but it could be really great. So if you've loved and lost, going back into love a little bit, if you've tried something and failed, if you've applied and been rejected for a job or school, you get a second chance. And the second chance is believing in yourself, even though that initial rejection took place. For those of you that are writers like me, I'm sure many of you have queried your work and you have dozens, if not hundreds, of rejections because it's tough to get your idea out there. You just don't give up. You just keep pushing. Or you do it yourself if you need to. So I want you to keep trusting, loving, and embracing the true you because you've already done the work. We have the power, we have the knowledge. Now we need to just shift, turn the head a little bit. Turn in this direction, turn in this direction. And even the fish needs to look around and see what's behind it. And I think that's going to be ever so important. So in short, what you're looking at, what you believe is what you continue to manufacture and create in your life. So start to believe that something else is possible, okay? We have something cool in the environment. We have the King of Pentacles. Power, power, power. Again, you have a lot of power around you. There are a lot of potential blocks this month, so I'm glad we're having this conversation so that you can get past them. Let's talk about the placement and also the fact that it's reversed. I like the King of Pentacles in your environment. It shows me that there is opportunity beckoning. There is something there available for you and to you. It does also show me, though, that others are willing to take a lot from you, so having proper limits in this period of time is going to be essential. The King of Pentacles around you, though, shows me you can tap into something. And it may feel like it's a bit of a reach for you, but reach anyway. I think that's going to be a surprise that you might get what you're reaching for or asking for. Let's look at the King of Pentacles. Great illustration because this card typically does rule house and home. And for many of you, you're going to decide to invest. Maybe you're going to buy your first house. Maybe you're going to do some renovations. Some of you may be also, it's a push from the universe to kind of like improve your surroundings. So this could ostensibly be your workplace. So is your office, is the environment around you kind of hectic and chaotic, or people taking a lot? You want to put your boundaries up for that. Is your desk a mess? Is your room a mess? This is a chance to kind of like get in there and clean things up. You need to have peace and tranquility in your living environment in order to have like the maximum potential for just being very, very productive. So do your best to invest in yourself and invest in your environment. And if there is a tangible investment that you care about, like property or something like that, this card also portends good things. I believe, as I'm looking here, it's your own, it's your second money card. So let's look at this is the interesting thing. This is how you feel. This is how people see you. You feel Five of Pentacles. They see King of Pentacles. You are worth more than you give yourself credit for. So definitely, if you're thinking about negotiating for salary, the King of Pentacles is saying, ask for more in that negotiation table. If you are in a partnership and you always feel like you're taking a back seat, then it's your turn to kind of get in that driver's seat and ask for something or do something. So this is about reclamation of power, absolutely, and investing and doing something for yourself. Now, the one thing that can happen with this King of Pentacles card is sometimes this can be someone in your life that is a taker, not a giver. And so for many of you, you're going to choose to step back from that kind of a relationship because it's not sustainable, okay? So there is power for the taking. Listen to what your higher self is saying. We see that little tiny bird right on his shoulder here. So for many of you, this is a chance to really listen. The bird is also here. It's in most of the power cards. We see the bird right there, right by my finger. So there's a part of you that knows you can do this. Listen to that little voice, even if it's a whisper. It's there to help you out. You don't have to be a lone wolf like we see in this particular hermit card. I'm just paying attention to the animal totems that appear. That's why I like druid decks, because they have some great animal energy in them as well. All right, let's move on to hopes, fears, and opportunities. So as we're looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have the Ace of Wands, and a beautiful ace at that. This is where everything's leading you. So for those of you that are worried about like what's going on, especially when you see Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, these are all they're mental cards. They're you getting in your headspace a bit. So this is about you putting yourself in a place where you think you're less than. This is about focusing so much on one thing that you miss another, much like the Five of Cups is. So turning your perspective around opens up your power, opens up your potential. And that's really the big, so what? We'll look at what the big idea is, but just as I'm looking at things, that's one thing that I'm seeing is the ability just to kind of shift perspectives here. Now, there is a gap on this card. We see the elk standing up here, looking at the sun, and also there's this sort of gap between being at one place to the other. So there might be a kind of winding path. It probably has to go down the hill and up and around, because to take that leap may be too much. So if you're focusing just on yourself and where other people are, and you're thinking, I'm never going to get there, it may not be a straight path to your goal. When I look back at my career over time, like nothing as a kid that I did would have prepared me kind of like for what I'm doing now. My education did, and my jobs did though, because I learned to be a journalist, and then I learned to edit film and tell stories. Like I went to film school as well. So, and then I took a lot of jobs in digital marketing and art and production. So all of them ultimately did lead to being a good YouTuber, but I didn't anticipate this. So that was something that was a winding path that the universe showed to me. And just like one of these cards here, like the Four of Cups, when I saw that sitting there, I'm like, oh, that could be really cool. Let's give it a shot. And then I realized, okay, I'm going to have to go down the canyon and up the canyon, but I'll be really happy to be on that other side. So your path may be a winding one. You might look at your brother, sister, mother, father, and they didn't have to do the winding path. They just lucked into something. Maybe they inherited a business. Maybe they just got a job easily. Maybe they were able to step into something. Maybe they didn't, and you're thinking that you can't. They just didn't take the winding path. So for you, Aries, this month, there is a wind or a twist in the journey, but it's worth it. So take that winding path to your destination, because the ace can't be really denied here. Beautiful energy here. Love that we see the sun on top of this. The sun is ego, it is joy, it is charisma. It's a star too, but it's just a different personification of the star. It's also so much easier for us to look at. We look at this versus Polaris or Sirius or any of the other stars that are way out there in the galaxy, and we think that's so far away, but the sun actually gives us warmth. Again, it's closer than you think. The thing that you're trying to get is closer than you think. All right? Let's go to your outcome card here. We have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups, I actually like the way that this one is illustrated here, because a lot of times it's in the air. I like it when they show it in the water because it is a water card. So some of you are reflecting, but possibly doing maybe too much reflecting or inner thinking. This is the overthinking card. So the Seven of Cups can lead to epiphanies. It can lead to this really great understanding of like what's available to you. So whenever you brainstorm, whenever you think about what's coming through next, then we want to kind of think, all right, historically, what's here? And then research, okay, what's going over here? And again, how does this fit in? And then it gives us sort of like this landscape. So it's good to do your research, but there is a time limit and there is a place where you can overthink it. And this card here is really about making sure, especially in the outcome placement, that it's time to decide. When reversed, Seven of Cups is basically saying this is your time to decide. You have enough research, so take one of these cups and move forward. You have everything that you need. And if we were to look at these two, because a lot of this stuff is about you getting in your headspace. This is the opportunity, which is something new, something exciting. And this is how to get there. I decide I can do this. This is your key challenge this month, which is seeing yourself as powerful and worthy, even though maybe there's something in the past that has taught you to think the opposite. Don't give in to fear, okay? That's basically, and just don't give up as we look at the Nine of Wands in the deep past. All right, let's go ahead now and move on to the expanded forecast. The expanded forecast is going to be health, wealth, love, and destiny. And each one of these is multi-part. And just a quick disclaimer as I'm going to read health. I'm not a doctor. I'm a tarot reader and an intuitive. What I'm going to be looking at for you are opportunities. You always have the power to choose what's best for yourself. And if you ever feel like you need help, ask for that help. All right, let's take a look at your health card. Your health card today also is a personification of that healing energy that we see here. We have, to me, this is the hermit coming out of his or her shell. So I do feel like for many of you, there is a feeling of being seen, and that visibility could be a little bit disconcerting. We're not always equally comfortable in front of the spotlight, right? It's your divine right to be happy. It's your divine right to do your soul's calling, and you are being supported by the divine, whatever you call that, God, etc., the universe. So self-love, self-acceptance, if I were to kind of sum it up in a couple of words. Love who you are, love where you're going, and know that even if you have work to do, whether it's working towards graduation, working towards being more mentally or physically fit, working towards just feeling happier in general, these are all journeys, right? And your journey this month is a little winding, but you're still going to get there, okay? And that's the important thing. Let's focus on the cards and see what sort of additional insights we can get for health and well-being. Again, with the disclaimer that we're looking at energy. If there's anything going on in your body, you're going to have to talk to someone about that. Okay. Some of you are having a hard time concentrating. The Seven of Cups card can definitely be this feeling of being distracted. So with the Seven of Cups, you may be feeling like, how am I going to be able to do this? How can I even make sense of everything? So talk it out. Talk to someone else. That's one way to kind of like sort things out. Some of you may have headaches or migraines because of this overthinking. There may be something more. Either way, it's important for you to kind of sort that through. On this diagonal, we also have a little bit of a journey here because with the Nine of Swords, this is also talking about your sleep habits and your stress management skills. So not giving up, managing stress, and focusing. These are the things that could become blocks for you this month, and they are more cognitive or mental. So reach out to a therapist or someone to talk to or someone to lean on to help through those cognitive blocks. Some of you need more practice when it comes to public speaking or engagements or being seen, and there is that sort of shy energy. So again, maybe having someone to help deflect or diffuse some of that discomfort will be really, really beneficial for you. Mostly here, I see just concentration and a shift of focus. So this is staying focused. Sorry, hard to see that one. Five of Cups basically is a decision to not focus on what's lost, but what's possible. Four of Cups is seeing an opportunity that could go otherwise missed because, again, you might be looking at the grass being greener on the other side. Meanwhile, there's something beautiful sprouting out in your sort of backyard, right? And Seven of Cups is just being so distracted. So taking out some of the distractions in your life. And when you do that, you start to shine. You start to pull in that beautiful solar energy that we actually saw right here in this particular card. So this is the Emperor coming through, okay? Mostly good. There's nothing here that I'm overly concerned about. One last sort of mention here. With the Nine of Swords, you always want to pay attention to your sleep and wake schedule and your bedroom. So if you have a lot of light in your room, maybe that's not helpful for you to go to sleep, or if you're, I don't have a television in my bedroom right now, and if you bring your phone to the bed, maybe like at a certain time, just you don't look at it, or you put on the kind of, there's a filter on it so that it can go not so blue, it can kind of keep you up. So it could be like the television, your computer, or your phone, whatever's in there distracting you, turn that off. And really focus on breathing, listening to music or something like that to kind of allow yourself, or a podcast to allow yourself to just kind of drift to sleep, okay? Sleep habits are key. And if you have an erratic, like it's not the same time every night because of your work schedule or whatever, trying to find some semblance of normalcy there is going to be important as well. All right, so we just talked about health. Let's move along to wealth. Let's look at what's coming through here. We have loneliness. I know that I'm never alone. And we actually have a card here that kind of shows community, shows almost like a 10 of wands or 10 of pentacles rather energy here. So some of you need a mentor. Some of you may miss working with other people because as a part of COVID, basically, I know a lot of us have had to go to virtual work. I tend to like to work from home, but I have a little bit of hermit energy and it kind of suits me. But I liked working in an office too, and I did that for 15 years, met a lot of friends, did a lot of great things. But one thing that I noticed when I was in office work was that it was hard to focus. So for some of you, the two cards that we were looking at here, Seven of Cups, distraction, and loneliness, it may be sort of like, you might be on either end of this. So if you enjoyed being on your own and you went back to an office, you kind of feel like maybe it's hard to concentrate. Some of you that are maybe now still working from home, there's this loneliness. So trying to bridge this gap and find the happy medium between having just enough space and not feeling like your head's going in a lot of different directions, that's going to be key. So one thing that's going to take you away from success would be a lack of focus, and then maybe feeling like you're the outsider looking in, the Hermit and the Lonely card here. You are no longer a kid at the lunch table. We have the Five of Pentacles here. So you are much more sort of alluring or engaging than you think. But if you're in an environment where people are the mean kids at lunch, I use that example a lot because I'm sure some of you felt like that when you go to put your tray down and they would like, no, you can't sit at this table. It's like, well, yes, I can, but why would I want to now if you don't want me here? So if there's anyone in your life that's the mean kid at the table, at the lunch table, you can do better than that. And you should also just tell them, like, I don't care, there's plenty of places to sit, and move on. Don't pay a lot of attention to that, because this is your chance to be strong and to come out of that shell. You've got too much to look forward to, all right? Let's look specifically at the cards for money and wealth advice. As I said earlier, self-investment is going to be important. So deciding to go to school, deciding to build up your confidence, deciding to do anything to really create a firmer foundation. King of Pentacles reversed is supporting that. You have a good idea. You have the insight that you need. Don't overthink it. It's more obvious than you think on how you can make this happen. I do want some of you, if you are not getting paid enough, and maybe it is something that's bigger than just you not speaking up. It could be that there's baked into the company that you work at gender bias or age bias or experience bias, something like that. Whatever it is, make sure that you're rectifying that. Bring it up to management if you need to, or seek a job where people will appreciate you, and then maybe you can use that as a counter. No matter how you slice it, there's more available to you than you probably have right now. So it's really a question of what you want to do about seeking more, looking for more, okay? If you are job seeking right now, I do see an opportunity on the horizon here, but it does look like the waiting can be stressful. It may not look exactly how you anticipated it looking between the 4 and the 5 of cups. So you may be asked to kind of like go outside of your comfort zone or repackage your skills in a way that was unexpected, but there's still an opportunity there, okay? If you are retired, I think one of the things here is what can you do that brings inspiration into your life? Because the 7 of cups can just be nostalgia or looking too much on what was. And I think of some of the older, particularly it was like men in my family that retired, they had a hard time redefining themselves after their jobs. It wasn't as hard sometimes for women. This is, again, maybe more something in the 20th century, not so much in the 21st, but because women tend to wear a lot of hats, right? They could be mom, they could be aunt, they could be boss, they were doing everything. But sometimes traditionally old school, men were more defined by what they did, and they didn't connect as much to everything else. Nowadays, the roles could be reversed. You could be just someone who's focusing so much on family or so much on work that you are thinking to yourself, but who am I? So I want you to really focus on seeing that, like the mask, you're more than one person. You're more than your gender. You're more than your age. You're more than your religion. You're more. So look deeper and know that it's never too late, and you can do anything that you set your mind to. Okay. People don't want you to think that you can, because that gives them more power. So I'm telling you that you have the capacity right now to do amazing things. Okay. Let's go ahead now and look at what's next here. So we looked at health, wealth. Let's go to love. I know this is many people's favorite piece of this reading. Love to me is not just romantic love. It's love with a capital L, which is the relationships you have with the people you care the most. It could be a neighbor, a friend, or a chosen family, not necessarily just your family or just your partner. So the card here today for love is actually 2. This was the bonus one. So I'm going to start first with the scarab beetle. So the scarab beetle is a really auspicious symbol from Egypt and other sort of mythologies and religions, but it is a symbol of reincarnation. And this one says, magic works through you. I agree with that. Scarabs, of course, work with like there can be dung beetles and things like that. They're working through that energy of, it's kind of like fertile energy, right? So sometimes we have to rework or go through things, even if it doesn't feel like it's what we wanted. You can rise from the ashes. So I see this as a symbol of being able to take something and make something new of it, okay? Just in the same way that I love a lily going through the mud, which I talked about in the last reading. The fact that Egyptians really kind of like put that scarab beetle on a high pedestal, even though some people would look and be like, yeah, but it's working in like fertilizer. It's not the best thing. Yeah, but that's sort of like the source of life. You plant your crops and all of that. So the fact that there's something that's kind of attached to that it's a different way of looking at it. So I want you to take all of the stuff in your life that you didn't like, the garbage, and imagine that you're putting it into a compost, and all that stuff, the old relationships, the old drama, the broken hearts and all of that, like put it into this blender and say, but what have I learned and how can I avoid that? This in your relationships is going to be one of the most important things. You are not all of that. You're more than that. You're stronger because of that. The pig is kind of fun. Pigs, of course, are really intelligent. I've used them as a totem before. So they get a bad rap, but they're very intelligent. That's why it actually says use your mind here, because if you were to have a pig or a dog as a pet, the pig would probably be a lot smarter. Now, both of these cards have some cleaning up to do. They're not in the cleanest of environments, like a dung beetle and mud. But like I said, from all of that mud and grime, oftentimes comes that water lily. So we're going to work through the grime as I look at the different relationships this month. So I always like to look at it from the perspective of 3 different areas: those in a relationship, seeking a relationship, or unattached. Now, the relationship again can be the person you care about the most. So if you're not in love, you can still use this for that. All right, let me take a drink and we're going to look at this, the 3 different perspectives. If you're in a current relationship, the main issue that I'm seeing here is about self-confidence. And there could be one partner that is really maybe needs a lot of boosting, okay? This could be you, it could be the other partner, but one of the things here that we want to do is empower that person. And if it's you, stepping into your power is going to be really key. If it's the other person, giving them the tools and kind of like propping them and saying, you can do this. I don't have to always remind you that you can do this. So breaking the codependency there a little bit is going to be important. With the Hermit card, it does feel like there could be holding back, but it's not necessarily deceit. It's not necessarily a lie. It's someone that wants to kind of like do a little more, say a little bit more, but they're just afraid to use their voice. It's like if you've ever been with some of your friends and someone's humming or whatever, they have this amazing voice and you're like, sing a little bit more, and all of a sudden they sound like a songbird, but they were maybe afraid to show off or show their true voice. Some of you may have that beautiful voice or vision. I know you do, because we have this over here. And it's just about putting it out there and realizing when someone hears or sees it that it's going to be great. So show your true self. If you can't do that to your partner, then who can you do that with, right? There's a little bit of fear, a little bit of shyness, but ultimately we're missing, the one thing that we're missing is swords. I'm going to take note of that. When I do a reader's choice, I want to look a little bit more at communication and see why it's missing. Because if I notice an element is missing, like swords, I want to look at it later. So that's one thing that's missing from this spread, is just that communication. So go there. Even though it's not here, that doesn't mean that you can't lean into that. So that's super important here, is just to speak your mind and ask for what it is and express yourself for what it is that you want. Say what your idea, what your hope or fear is. It looks like it's good. It looks like it's going to be okay. All right. So I think that's the key thing, is working on coming out of your shell, or getting your partner to come out of their shell a little bit, creating a safe space, asking for that safe space, and taking off that mask, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Okay. So beautiful messages, actually, if you're in a relationship. The only thing as I look at the near future and the future is stress and overthinking. Meanwhile, show it. I feel like also if you can just show support, sometimes that's even better than having the conversation. So if you're around a person that is not communicative, and that's perhaps why swords didn't come through here, then you just show it to them and kind of let them see that it's safe, because they may not be able to talk it out with you. Being able to see why you're there and why you still care about that person is going to be key as well. I don't see anything here showing that things will fall apart, but I do see stress. I do see distraction. I do see a breakdown in communication. So those are the things that you have to kind of move beyond. Looking at those of you that are single and looking. First of all, I'm going to focus on this card in the deep past, the 9 of Wands. Don't force it. If it's meant to be, if the timing's meant to be, it will be. Okay? Remembering that no matter what your relationship status is, that you are that hidden star, starborn here. And we have the beautiful Hermit card here holding the star and the lantern. So come out of your shell, be yourself. You're going to be okay. I know it's a little hard, but it'll be all right. I do think that this month is not specifically about romantic relationships, even though that may play a part. The main thing for you is focusing on mental acuity and clarity. It's about personal development. You may bring in, by the way, an earth sign, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I do see a lot of mental and internal emotional development coming through for you. If you do bring in this earth sign, they want a lot of your time and energy. By the way, for those of you in a relationship, the other partner may ask for a lot. So no matter where you're at, you're going to have to find a way to balance things out, because there's lacking balance here. If we went to the 6 of Pentacles, literally, they'd be holding the scales and saying, more of this, less of this, or no, I can't do that. So that's the way you tip it in the positive direction, is just to have the ability to balance things out. If you do meet someone, there's a very strong physical connection here. So they may want a lot of your time, and there's strong chemistry. I'm missing the communication all the way across the board for everybody. We have swords here, but I'd like to see something different. This, to me, when I read it, is fear. I want to see like the Ace of Swords or the Queen of Swords. So although I said there was no swords, I was just looking at the fear on this one, but there's still something missing. So I want to focus on communication when I do reader's choice. All right, for those of you that are single and happy, good time to be single and happy. Like I said, just for the people that were looking, I really feel like it's a chance to take something and see it develop or grow. So by all means, do that. And definitely just a great time for you to focus on you. Really get comfortable in your skin. Going to school, training, just geeking out or deciding to start a business or something like that. All of this is very much supported. When it comes to calling in new people, it could be a little challenging. So again, I will look at that deeper when I go into the viewer and reader's choice, but that's the one thing that's kind of missing. Okay. Let's take a look at your destiny card here. We have the fish, and the fish was reversed. So when I'm looking, it really doesn't matter when you're looking at a totem or some sort of an animal like the fish here, because fish can kind of go in any direction. So you might be asked to go upstream, to go counter to what's expected. You're going to thrive no matter what. And like I said, there are certain species of fish that actually do that to procreate, to create more. So sometimes we have to push a little bit before the abundance comes into our life. So you may be the fish going counter to what's expected. Destiny. The destiny can be shifted and changed. So I'm a believer of free will, and I think that even when presented with an option, you always have a chance and a choice. Recently, I had like a disagreement with someone, and I was trying to play a peacekeeper, but they didn't want peace. And so that was their choice. And there's a sacrifice then. Sometimes you sacrifice big relationships and opportunities there, but you can't control someone. So at a certain point, okay, so you're willing and ready to let this go, then so am I. I got better things to do. Put your energy into the place where you see the best use of time and energy, so that you can see a return on it. If you're not getting a return, or if you're at a standstill, you actually then don't have to go counter to the flow. You can go in another direction. So to quote Fleetwood Mac, go your own way. Go in the direction that calls to you. Sometimes there'll be a little bit of friction. Sometimes it'll be easy sailing. But the fish is telling me you can navigate no matter what. Okay? Let's go ahead now and do one more shuffle here for one more card here, and I'll just identify it. So we went through the Celtic Cross. I like to always look at a big idea before I get into blessings and blocks. The big idea is something that really kind of encapsulates all that we just talked about. So let's see what your big opportunity is this month, and then we'll move along to blessings and blocks. Okay, so we have happiness here. We have the Prince of Cups. He is reversed. So with the Prince of Cups in reverse, there's this choice right now to say, I am ready and willing to prioritize my happiness. I'm not going to turn away from things just because someone else thinks I can't or shouldn't do it. I'm not going to put myself second. If an opportunity comes to me, I'm going to take a moment, sip that in, and think, how does this feel? How does this taste? Do I like this? It's kind of like, as a kid, if you only eat one thing, you're never going to explore other, if you only have vanilla, how will you know if you like chocolate, like ice cream or any flavor? And if you only eat pasta, you're missing out on so many other things. So like really having to sort of like taste the whole cornucopia of options in front of you, because it does feel like there's something sweet. So give yourself a chance to experience that something sweet. It could be a little bit difficult for many of you emotionally right now. There could be a lot going on, and you're just feeling that influx of emotions. So take special care of yourself so that you have the capacity to just kind of like do what you need to do to be happy, all right? So let's go ahead now and move along to blessings and blocks, and then we'll do the reader's choice after that. So this is just 2 cards, one thing to embrace, one thing to be careful of. So let's see what the cards want to show us. Blessing and block. Okay, so a lot of times with blessings and blocks, they can be a little bit hidden, and we have that here. So we're going to start with the blessings, 5 of Wands. So this will be a productive month for you, okay? There could be competition. There could be someone trying to upstage, someone trying to push you in a different direction, but you're going to just keep your kind of like focus here. 5 of Wands leads to what? The 6 of Wands, which is success. So don't lose track of why you're working so hard. I think for many of you, that might be the key thing here. So the blessing is productivity, but there's a little bit of a block baked into the blessing this month, which is, why am I working so hard? Why is it taking so long? Am I doing the right thing? You are doing the right thing. It will pay off. You just have to keep focusing. You may be faced with working with people that just don't want to cooperate. So you're going to be asked to call some order in this particular situation. Not only that, but to lead by example. So show how it's going to be done, lead by example. Don't focus on what's frustrating you that much, and then ask for help if you need it, okay? Let's take a look now at your block card. And we have the 10 of Cups card here, which is wonderful. So this is showing family, community, support, love. Also, we have this rainbow in the background. If it's been a difficult journey up until now, it's going to be good. So the blessing and the block kind of play together in a strange way. If you work through the blessing and work hard, it gets paid off. If you don't, then you miss this and it ends up being something that is just out of reach. So the block here with the 10 of Cups could be that you just don't think you're deserving of that. It could also be the pressure from friends and family to achieve so much. So just do what's right internally. Don't give in to peer or family pressure as much. And for some of you, you might just be wanting to prioritize your personal life, hanging out with friends or dating someone or working on your relationship. So sometimes love with a capital L can distract us from work, but the center card, 5 of Pentacles, is saying just find that balance. You can get it with the 6 of Pentacles. So it's just about saying no, keeping your boundaries when you need them, and asking for what you need. If you do that, you're going to be fine. So we have a little bit of a blending here of the blessings and blocks this month, and they're hidden because this tells me you can get a lot done, but you may feel like you're tired as you're doing it. This shows me that you may get what you're looking for, but then it may distract you. So blessings and blocks are tricky. They're like roses with thorns. There's a lot to like. There's some things that could end up causing some friction or some pain, so you have to kind of juggle it a bit. All right. By and large, 2 really great cards. So productivity and love and abundance. So I feel like you're going to be all right, but you just have to stay on path. All right, we're going to look at the viewers and readers' choice right now. And I'm going to quickly type up some options here for you to vote on, some things that I think are worthy of exploring. I already decided that I want to look at communication. So I'm going to pick some other things here that feel authentic in this moment. So let's, I'll leave the little inset here as I'm looking at the cards here. Okay, so shifting perspectives because of the 4, 5, and 7 of Cups. That's definitely one thing that I'd like you to vote on here. So shifting perspective, I'm gonna put like silver lining, looking at the positive. Something that's a lot easier said than done, right? And then let's see here, asking for what you need, because we have the 5 of Pentacles, asking for what you need. And then the third option is the winding path, taking that winding path. Okay, so viewers' choice. You'll have a moment to vote on this. While you're voting, I'm going to focus on communication because that was something that I was very much interested in. So let me go ahead now and give a shuffle here. And again, I'm going to keep up what we're doing. So we're looking at viewers' choice and reader's choice. I'm going to start with the reader's choice because you're all still voting. My reader's choice is communication. We got 1 swords card, but it was not really descriptive of how to communicate or how to do a good job on that one. So let's see. Okay, amen to this. I feel like I've been talking about it the whole time, and I'm so happy that it came through. So we have the 6 of Pentacles card here, which is showing the need to balance. And it really is about saying, like, I understand how much I can give, what I want to do, how this is going to happen. And by doing that, I'll have more than enough. One of the things to remember when we're looking at this particular card, it's the importance of not being afraid to, like sometimes if we say no to something, we're afraid that that's going to be all that there is. There isn't. So we need to kind of combine the lessons of 4, 5, and 6 of Pentacles. 4 is holding on to something because you think it's not going to, nothing else will happen. 5 is like, I just don't have the right to ask for it. 6 is no, I'm going to ask for this and I'm going to say no to this. I'm going to be stronger and more vocal. So you have to just find the balance and ask for it. You'll be pleasantly surprised as you do this to see that a lot of that's going to happen. I see one little piece of fuzz up here that's bothering me. There we go. So there we go. So I would say for many of you, deciding, there's always going to be an open hand. You can't make everybody happy all the time. So do what you can feel like you're going to get the best return on, and I think that's going to be key. All right. So we have a pretty clear winner here. We have asking for whatever it is that you need. So that falls in nicely with this balance card. So let's see what the message is on this. All right. So asking for what it is that you need. Ten of Wands in reverse. All right, so let's pull this upright. Let me just get my camera back here. Okay, so we'll do the card upright so you can see it. The Ten of Wands is a nice graduation point from the Nine of Wands. So with the Ten of Wands, we see that final push. First of all, the Ten of Wands in reverse holds a very different connotation from the upright. Ten of Wands in reverse is when someone pushes or forces you to do something you don't want to do. And it can just be because they are insistent, they talk over you, they don't listen. So one thing that I'd like you to ask for is a moment. Say, I've heard you out. Now I need some time, please don't interrupt, and I need to express some thoughts and ideas. Or ask for them to consider it before answering. So a lot of times when someone's offered a job, the employer may say, don't answer today, think about it, take your time, really come back with us if and only if you're ready. So if you're going to push for something, you want to push for time. And also, if you're close to getting something done, don't let it go. Don't let someone kind of take you off that path. So I think the important thing here is to push for time and push for your opportunity to really see the light of day. The other thing with this is making sure that you're looking at why you did it. With the Ten of Wands, usually you're midway through that hill that you're climbing up. So I want you to take a moment and get perspective. So you can gain the perspective, and you might also have to kind of help the other partner get the perspective. Delegation and support is also something to ask for with this. Not always, I would say oftentimes if it's a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you'll see someone feeling the sort of pressure and the weight of that situation. You don't have to do this all alone. These two go hand in hand, balance and delegation. And then realizing that you're much closer to the finish line than you think, okay? So some really great messages overall, and I'm glad we had a chance to look at all of those. Let me just kind of remind you of where we're at and what's coming next. So we've actually gotten through most of this. We have one final section here. We're getting ready for the meditation, sound bath, and final card. Let me just talk about that a little bit. The final card is a really cool aspect of what I do. It's a chance for you to meditate on something that I didn't get a chance to answer since I can't take questions live. And I will read the collective energy around where everyone's headed. So save your question, write it down right now. In a moment, we'll meditate and we'll work at kind of finding balance. I think that's the key thing, and opening up the heart to receiving that. Before I do that, just a couple of quick notes. I hope you enjoyed what we were doing here today. And if you did, please, if you've never subscribed, you're brand new, subscribe and hit the bell icon too so you don't miss future content. I do a lot of impromptus, and it would be a pity to miss that. If you're a consistent viewer and you've never subscribed, it costs nothing. Please do it. And hit the thumbs up once. When it's on replay later, you can comment as well. These are small things, but they really do help with discoverability. And I want to see continued growth, so please help me with that. Join me on social media if you'd like additional reminders outside of YouTube. I know a lot of you don't really get those notifications, so join me particularly on Instagram and Facebook. I will post reminders there, and Twitter as well, okay? If you want to show help or support in a super sticker or super chat or a membership, I saw someone upgraded today. I think it was Isha. So anybody that does that, I'll make sure to call you out at the end and express some gratitude. That helps me continue to upgrade equipment and get some new decks. I'm going to do some shopping here this month and try to get some new decks once I read the community post. More information is on my website as always. So let's move into the meditation. The meditation is only about a minute or two, so stick around if you can. It would be great. And then the final card is my thank you for everyone that sticks around for the meditation. Though some of you are working, you can just kind of keep me low at this point, and then when you see I put up the card for the final card, you can come back. Okay, so today for the meditation, I really want to focus on overcoming that sort of internal self-doubt that came through right at the heart of the spread. I'll give you a chance while I'm getting things set up to vote on which instrument you'd like me to use. I have a singing bowl and I also have a crystal pyramid. Both of them are fine, so whatever you feel more like seeing, vote for it. Okay. All right, so let's set this meditation up. I would love for you to just kind of close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you are in your safest and happiest space. If you kind of have a hard time imagining things, since I had the beach coming into my mind, let's go ahead and use that today, but let's imagine that it's daytime, that you're on maybe a chair or a nice cloth so it's safe. There's no, you're not worried about the sand or anything. You just kind of feel this nice connection to the ground beneath you. The sun is directly overhead, just like it was in the High Priest card, and you feel this lovely energy, kind of almost like you're an Ace of Cups. You're drinking in the solar energy as it comes through the crown chakra. It's warming up your head. It's kind of going through each and every part of your body and de-thawing, or thawing rather, and warming you up. If there's any parts of your mind, body, or spirit where you feel that there's a block, then I want you to just imagine that the sunshine is melting that away. Take a couple of nice, evenly paced, deep breaths, really drinking in that sense of being alive and awake, stretching a little bit if you'd like to, and on the exhale, relaxing your shoulder, your neck, your body, your muscles, all the little subtle muscles in your face and in your eyes and in your scalp as well. A lot of times we're holding tension in places we don't even know that we could be holding tension. So just let everything melt and just lay back on that towel and receive. As you are sitting there with laying there with your eyes closed, listen to the sound of the ocean behind you. Feel the coolness of the breeze as it gently goes through your hair and goes past your face. Smell the salt water clearing and cleansing all of your auric field as it kind of goes through the mist around you. And really feel like you are just like the magician, capable of pulling all the different elements that we talked about around you and using them to create something new in your life. As we're talking and as we're meditating, what comes to mind is a butterfly spirit. It's right on your heart space, and with each gentle flap of its wings, it starts to open up your heart. You feel this gentle, it almost tickles a little bit at first, and then you just feel this warmth and opening. And the butterfly has all the colors in the rainbow on it. So you can see all the different chakra centers opening up, and you see a rainbow auric field set up around you. This gives you the possibility and the opportunity to go and be and do anything that you want to be and want to do. So just imagine that you are kind of in the midst of possibilities, all this beautiful multicolored light around you. And if you'd like to, you can imagine that you connect with the butterfly spirit and you take a little journey. See where it takes you, see what it shows you. Maybe it just shows you a part of your heart that you need to focus on. And as I'm playing the singing bowl, you can just enjoy this meditation, and then we'll come back and take a look at your final card. Taking a deep breath, I want you to come back into your body, feeling the opening in your heart, feeling the opening all around you, feeling a sense of gratitude. Allow yourself to be free. Allow your own wings to be opened up this month ahead so that anything that you dream or desire can come into fruition. focus on the final question that you have for me today. Hold it in your mind, hold it in your heart. Let's take a look and see what the cards have to say. So we have a lovely card here for the final card. It's the Prince of Wands. Prince of Wands is showing quicker movement than you think. A knight is action-based. Wands say that you may see it before you hear it, or there's sort of like for many of you, again, communication is a little off this month, but it will come into focus. I think for many of us, there could just be this desire to, kind of like my friend, wanting to see the proof in the pudding here. So this is saying you're going to have to lead the charge a little bit in order to make whatever it is happen in your life happen. So as a yes/no question, it's a yes, but there is a caveat with it, which is that you must take the mantle. You must take the lead or the reins here to make this happen. You want to also make sure that you take ownership and accountability for your idea. Your actions and words need to match. Walk the walk, talk the talk with this, okay? But overall, it's a yes. It's a positive. There's nothing really negative about it. The only thing that is a sort of warning, as I said earlier, is timing. Things are going to happen at a rapid clip. So the most important thing is not just punctuality, but also presence of mind and presence also just of spirit, making sure that you're really not missing something, because it could happen and also kind of disappear that quickly. All right. Overall, really great energy, really great final card here as well. There could be someone coming into your life that has this really fire energy as well. So very idea focused, very bossy. You have the ability to meet them on an even level though, because we basically got two different king cards here. The High Priest and the King of Pentacles to me are just two different kings. They're both on their thrones. Though they're stubborn. So one of the things that you could be challenged with, especially in a relationship this month, is how can I get someone to think of it from my perspective? And that's tricky, but remembering some of the tools we had this month, it may be about compromise, some of it, because we had the Six of Pentacles, figuring out how much of it is a necessity, how much of it you could just think, enough of that, I'll be okay. All right. Overall, really great reading for you this month. Breakthrough opportunity and a sort of a reveal opportunity as we were looking at the Hermit becoming the star. And I think the sooner you believe in yourself, the sooner everything starts to come into fruition. All right. I need to wrap up because I actually have an appointment in a bit here. So we're going to quickly now go into your thanks here. So I want to say thanks in a few different ways. First of all, thanks to Maria for moderating and helping out today. Thanks to all of you, whether this is your first time or you're a return viewer. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if people didn't watch. So thank you so much. Again, if you are brand new, please do consider hitting that like and subscribe. It will help quite a bit. For everybody here that's been with this journey here that I've had here for a while, I want to say thank you so much for continuing to support, continuing to show up. And now I want to say thanks to everybody that gave back a little bit with a super sticker or super chat. So give me a moment to pull this open and hopefully it's working. I know like last week it was intermittently not showing me. So I'm going to try to start with new members first. All right. Sherry D, and I think it's Childers. Thank you so much. You're a brand new member. It's good to have you as a part of this. Welcome to Carol Ann. I think you're rejoining after 10 months. I'm so happy to have you here. And we have CM Hansen, brand new member, first time. Welcome aboard. Lisa Dawn, thank you so much, especially for being a star member. I appreciate that. You rejoined after 2 months. Isha, you upgraded today. I saw it in chat, and I just wanted to say thank you. Also a star member. There are different tiers if you want to support different tiers. It's just a different way to show support, but thank you for being a star member. And also thanks to Vicky, Patrice, Paris Bell 792. Let's see, Dina L, Treebird, sorry, Kylan Winbush, and I think that's everybody from the last day or so. There's a couple that are a couple days ago, and I'll say these two, Alex Blackman, AVK, and Jorina Bella. So thank you. That's everyone that's joined since the collective. I appreciate all the new joining and rejoining. For anyone that gave back in the form of super sticker or super chat, give me a second. I'm just going to say thank you. All right, we have a short list today, so it should be easy. Thank you to Diane. I can't quite say the last name. I'm just going to say Diane S. Thank you so much. Toya James, I appreciate you. Let's see, Kimberly Schultz, Michelle DePoy, and Karen McIntyre. Thank you all for showing up today and for making this an amazing reading. I hope that you got the love, support, and insight that you needed for the next month. And hope that you join me again tomorrow. I'll be reading for Taurus, and I'll be posting. I actually have all the links on the community tab right now, so you can see what the upcoming dates are, and also on my website. And I will put the additional links for the next 2 or 3 readings later today. All right, everyone, have a fantastic month ahead. Thanks for making this a great reading. Much love and light, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.